to another episode of Section 305, the Sports Show. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleague Nick Dupont. How's it going, man?
It's good, man. I finally stopped traveling for once. I'm finally home.
For
I,
real?
I can finally calm down. I'm in the office again. So finally, I don't have to be
Are
traveling for once.
you like in a back room, like all white,
I mean, it
like
kind
the
of feels
movie,
like that.
like the movie? Like
I'm
what's
not gonna lie.
going
I
on
saw it
right
last
now?
night. It does feel like that in here. It
Yeah,
does.
is it good? Is it good?
It was pretty good. I enjoyed it at least. I like horror movies, so for me, it's always fun.
Yeah, but I grew up watching horror movies, like more modern Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously the Scream sagas, Halloween. I'm talking more like the modern versions, not like the 70s and 80s. I have to
Yeah.
then watch it just to basically get a glimpse on how it started before they upgraded it to like in the 21st century type of more
Yeah. The type of
cleaner
technology they use for
version,
movies, what it is now.
the technology, this and that. Obviously, scenes that capture you like all of a sudden, and it's more scarier, especially with like the cinema sounds, including when they go like silent, and you're just like waiting for the moment to the
No,
hit to go. But yeah, now I can't say that I haven't been updated yet with like movies from that genre. Basically, because I grew up more watching like the real, how do you say, franchise killers.
yeah, I get you.
You know
So
what I'm
like the
saying?
indie
Like the
the indie
faces,
movies weren't like your thing. Yeah.
exactly, like the faces. Now you're seeing like exorcism type of movies that they're
I like that stuff
creating,
though.
and
Personally, I love it.
like the nun, and basically people being possessed, this and that, having like a historic background on how basically they became all of a sudden like this type of spirit type of killers, this and that. So I'm not. I've lost a little bit of taste of it, and so I'm mostly like a comedy action series that in Hulu, HBO, Netflix have been
Yeah, you're a show guy.
creating.
Everyone knows that. You're more of a show
Not
guy anyway.
narcos related type of, you know what I'm saying, that are based on true stories. So yeah, I lost the touch, but I was like one of the most biggest horror fan movies when growing up. Now I'm actually intrigued to watch Obsession.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
They
You have to watch it.
bro,
It is fantastic.
they invested like 700 grand, something like that, and it's a box office that's gonna generate millions and millions of dollars, not only for that movie, for like the whole cast. So you know when they make those type of movies, it's like they don't have those big expectations, and all of a sudden it's a boom.
Of
And
course,
it's just word
especially with the
spreading
amount they have
everywhere.
for budget, you don't expect it at all.
With low budget to all of a sudden become box office, those are the ones that you need to hire directors, producers, screenwriters, editors, and obviously the cast that makes it happen, makes it become like chilling,
Yeah.
makes it entertaining, makes it like surprising. And so yeah, that's one of the movies I gotta see. Obviously, I haven't watched the new Scream movie. I gotta like finish the saga. They said they're gonna make another one. Now I can talk about another franchise in a comedy that is premiering this week. Scary Movie 6, first class ticket. I'm watching that. The Wayans brothers are back. You got Hannah Faris, Regina Hall, and so yeah, we can talk about like the previews in the next episode. And already all those Marvel movies that are coming, like Spider Man. That's gonna be a thriller.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Movies this year is gonna be fun.
At the end of the month, at the end of the year, we got Avengers Doomsday. Oof, that's the one that I'm anticipating. Also, like based on a true story, Michael Jackson. They're making part two. Wow, that was also a movie that basically gives us a more insight of who Michael Jackson was real life, like emotionally. What I'm
Yeah.
trying to speak. One of the biggest artists in the world, but he felt like lonely, and a lot of the backlash that he faced. And you already know that there's some journalists that try to create a big, how do you say, project, but does it like in a cheating way. try to make the character look like a bad person or villain.
Oh, I get it. Yeah,
Try
yeah.
tries
Portray the wrong
try
image. Yeah.
yeah tries to set him up, and I think that's exactly what they're trying to give us, like a glimpse of who he really was. Now, who basically all those charges and criticism he was facing, like in his basically in the 21st century in his last moments of life, and
Yeah.
so
I mean, I think for the movie, they just try to keep it as happy as possible because if they are making a part two, I think this movie itself is just going to show all the happy sides of what the movie, like who Michael was and like all that stuff. And then maybe
yeah.
part two, they're going to be like, okay, this is all the serious stuff. Like this is how it went down. Like these are the charges. So we might see that route, but I don't really know if because mind you, it's Jafar Jackson who's the actor for Michael. I don't even know if he's
Yeah,
going to want to agree to even do that in the first place.
I mean, they are already working on the project, so if I'm not mistaken, he already
We'll
agreed to
see.
it. And I'm saying,
It might be another happy movie. We'll see.
yeah, probably like a different side of the story. There's always this side, and the third one, which is Lord God that knows the real thing. So hey, rest in peace, Michael Jackson. Nick, I know that we've been talking about first 6 minutes about movie franchises,
I can go
horror,
longer.
a little bit
I
of
can go
comedy
longer.
and action. Yeah, we can have a segment of this, especially like name our top 5, 10 sports movies of all time based on a true story or basically being fiction, but them making it look like based on a true story type of scenario. So like we have a long summer, and we already know that there's gonna be weeks that like there's not gonna be that much big topics apart from like NBA free agency, draft, also NFL training camp, MLB. We're gonna be talking about how the first half of the season is ending, how the second, also NHL draft. I mean, and we got the FIFA. I mean, it's gonna be a busy summer, but we know that we're gonna have like those type of weeks that we need to do what the Last Dance did when we were quarantined, when we were living that COVID season, which was unfortunate, but at least ESPN gave us a classic, one of the best documentary, if not the best we've seen in history. And
And we
so,
also got a Miami Heat NBA Finals appearance, so it also helped.
yeah, definitely. Even though the outcome wasn't the one we wanted, I mean, at the end of the day, the final result was exactly written.
It's
Like
okay. Legoat won it. It's okay.
he's now whatever you want to call him. I'll call him King James. I'll be nice. I'll call him King James. And
Wow, that's the most.
I'll
That's the
call, I'll
nicest I've
call,
ever heard you say.
I'll call him King James. At the end of the day, he won 2 MVPs for the Miami Heat. You're wearing the
And the 2 rings. Don't forget the 2 rings.
long sleeve shirt, 2 rings with him, 2 Finals MVP. In 2012, he had the same season that Michael Jordan had in 1996, winning 1992. Sorry, winning gold medal, winning MVP, Finals MVP, and a championship. So a lot of people remember LeBron James 20 years after Michael Jordan did that with the Dream Team in 1992. So like basically he had his best moments with the Miami Heat, and we definitely appreciate that. We understand why he returned to Cleveland. Then when he went to the Lakers, I mean, when we're having this goal debate, it's not about like us envying or hating LeBron. We respect him because he's actually the player that everybody's gonna miss more than when Michael Jordan retired, when Kobe Bryant retired, when Dwayne Wade retired. Like when he decides maybe this summer to announce 24, Kobe Bryant's number last season, and let's just say returning to Cleveland, that's gonna be one of the biggest ending to a story of
Yep.
one of the best athletes to ever have a career.
Yep.
So
It's gonna be sad.
I'll always gonna praise LeBron. I'm just not gonna put him in the conversation to be the greatest of all time. Who knows if he wins a chip in Cleveland and that's how his story ends? We're gonna be having this conversation for a long time, but I still have MJ as the goal. Whether
Yeah, we
it's
know.
whether it's Michael Jackson in the music, Michael Jordan in basketball. We already a lot of people are having that debate between Jackson and Drake in the music industry and this and that. We're not gonna get into that, but we've
Oh, that's
had
a hard one for you. You're fighting with yourself
no,
on
no,
that
yeah,
one.
I'm
I know
fighting.
you are.
I'm fighting with myself in that one. I gotta admit it. Everybody knows I'm a Drizzy Drake fan. We can production a little bit over here. We got the OVO Owl Iceman. Thank you very much. That's how faithful I am to him. But definitely Michael Jackson is like, uh, that's a tough one
It's up there,
to talk
man.
about. to talk about. So, all right, since we started this segment with movies and music, basically a little bit industry, let's go to the sports topic, which we got NFL, we got NBA and NHL. We got the NBA Finals predictions. We got the NHL Stanley Cup of an historic night for the Golden Knights. But let's start off first with the NFL. Free agency has been crazy. This has been one of the best we've seen in this decade, at
So
least
exciting.
before the draft and now after the draft recently. Let's talk about one of the trades that we saw this week. It was actually expected to be, whether it was with the Patriots or another team like the Eagles. We're going to be shopping AJ Brown. Yes, that's how we're going to start the segment,
Wow.
Nick.
Wow.
I know this hurts.
Everyone in behind
Yeah.
the scenes when we were warming up for today's segment, I thought it was gonna be Rams first, and then he's like, "No, I'm too
No,
excited for this. We
I'm too
gotta
excited.
go."
No, I'm too excited for this. Cause and Nick, it might remind you, since the Patriots let go of Stephon Diggs, I mean, it's unfortunate. The guy continues to get in legal cases. Reading all the scenario what happened between
Can't
him
say that's old,
and
man. Good
Cardi
job, Rams.
B, all this. I mean, controversial. And New England did a good job, like protecting him. Like you remember that incident that happened on the boat.
Oh, how can I forget?
You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be mentioning this in the podcast. Everybody know, whoever knows.
If
And
you know, you
so,
know.
since he's been one of the best wide receivers we've seen this decade, let's just say the Patriots gave him a pass. They protected him. If it was another wide receiver, like a decent, even a young one coming in the league, they're probably going to be left out of the team. They're
Yeah.
probably going to be released from the team. And you know better than that. And so kudos to him. He had a good season with the Patriots. Like offensively, you never saw like that first option. It could have been Mac Hollins, could have been Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Booty. It could have been Demario Douglas and others. And so, and then he got at the same time Drake May had help from his running backs. But now this wide receiver class that this team has, from signing first Romeo Doubs from the Packers and now acquiring AJ Brown, now we can debate like who could be the first option, because I don't have the wide receivers that stayed on the roster. None of them I see them like as like the first option, like, or the star for the team. It could be either AJ Brown, who's a Super Bowl champion, or Romeo Doubs throughout his career. He's been amazing.
Yeah.
Whether he was starting with Aaron Rodgers, who was trying to develop him, and now having that chemistry with Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs has had like a good start to it. Could it get better? Of course. And there's been seasons that he's been prone to injury, but he still has how do you say stepped up afterwards. You know what I'm saying? He's been
Yeah.
producing the numbers that they were expecting. But since the Patriots now actually recruited what we can basically call the best one that they've ever had since Julian Edelman, Randy Moss, we can
Yeah.
say, are the Patriots Super Bowl contenders again? When I say again, it's because they weren't last season. Last season, we give the expectations to be playoffs. But since they made it against the best defensive teams in the league, against the Seahawks, all of us knew that there was no chance. That Seahawks defense was suffocating everybody. The Rams are actually the only ones that gave them a battle. That's going to be one of the next topics that we're going to talk about in today's episode. So, in your opinion, do the Patriots become Super Bowl contenders again with, let's just say, a better offense than last season and with a still, let's just say, good elite defense? Oh, wait. I think we lost a little bit of sounding, Nick. Production, if you can help us out with that.
Hello, do you hear me?
There we go.
Sorry about that. It was some technical difficulty issues.
No, you good, man. What do
So,
you think?
so, listen, man. You know where I stood with the Patriots last season.
Yeah.
And for me, for the New England Patriots, I knew they were going to be a playoff team, like from the get go. When they got their
Yeah.
offensive lineman, what was it, Will Campbell from those? Yeah, when they got Will Campbell,
Yep.
I knew immediately that offensive line was going to be bolstered. Drake May was going to have a good season, and
The
that team
rookie
was
they
going to be
drafted.
effective.
Yep. Yeah, the rookie
And
they
the rookies that
drafted.
they've done well for this season. Now getting AJ Brown to your receiving core with Romeo Doubs, who in my eyes, when I look at Romeo Doubs, he's a good player. He just reminds me of Jacoby Myers, and I don't want to disrespect Jacoby Myers because Jacoby Myers has had really good seasons for both the Raiders and the Patriots. But
Yeah.
he's going to fill that role very well in being that number two guy and that every now and then slot receiver if they need it. So their offense is going to be more lethal than ever. Their defense has definitely need to step. They definitely need to step up defense more. I think they're going to clean their things up that they needed to clean up in the Super Bowl and for the regular season. But at the end of the day, man, they won those close games when they needed to. You know, like we saw them play against some of the crappiest teams around the league, and somehow the score would be like, oh, they're only up by 3, but the defense would close out
Yeah.
games. We just need to see that better done and more and better executed throughout the playoffs and the Super Bowl because you cannot have Sam Darnold just torching your defense. You can't have Jarrett Stidham torching your defense. You know, to be fair, they didn't put up that many points, but again, it's Jarrett Stidham. Even the defense said they weren't prepared to play against him because they didn't care about studying film for the guy.
Inclement weather at
Even
the
with the
same
inclement
time.
weather, though, you still have to prepare for it. I don't care who you are or who you play against. You need to prepare. That's all about what the game is. But for the most part, man, how can you not put them as Super Bowl contenders? For me, right now in the AFC East, I mean, sorry, in the AFC in general, I have the Chargers, the Broncos, the Patriots,
That's a
and
stack. That's a stack conference.
and maybe Baltimore. But even then, I can't trust Baltimore like that. But I can definitely see the Patriots making another run for it. I don't know how people can disregard them after last season. Yeah, you could say, oh, they struggled towards the end against better teams. Sure, but they ended up winning those games anyways, and their team
They
knows how to
found ways.
win.
Yeah, they
And
found
that's
ways.
and
They
that's
found
the
ways.
most important part about this sport. If you find ways to win, you're gonna go places, and if you can hold your
Yeah.
ground, you're gonna win. It's that simple. So that's my take on the Patriots. I really like the Patriots. I like what they've assembled. I think they're gonna be really good next year and for years to come. Drake May is on pace to be incredible. I mean, I don't even want it. I don't want to curse right now, but he's on pace to be amazing, Raul. And I think you know that more than anybody else.
Yeah. But so your answer is a yes. They Super Bowl contenders
Yeah,
again.
absolutely, absolutely. I have them, the Chargers, and the Broncos as my Super Bowl contenders for next year out of the AFC.
No, I mean, I like all the takes you said. First of all, like in the Super Bowl, even though Kenneth Walker, the second half exploded with the running game, put Sam Darnold in a better position so they can like score a touchdown. That's why he won Super Bowl MVP. At the end of the day, Sam Darnold went 50% throwing the ball, 19 for 38. So like the Patriots defense did like whatever was in their hands. That Seattle defense literally suffocated Drake May and the rest of the team. Remember, they had 2 interceptions and 1 pickup. They had a pick six.
Yes, but
So one of
the
so from
Patriots
those
defense.
from those 29 points, let's just say let's take that pick six out of the board. They only scored 22 against that Patriots defense. So it's mostly the Patriots offense that just couldn't find a way against that Seattle elite defense. I mean, Drake May had 2 interceptions, even though he threw 27 for 43. He had a better percentage than Sam Darnold. He had almost 300 yards. It was that offense that just couldn't get a rhythm. You couldn't run the game with Ramondre Stevenson, Trevelyan Henderson. Stephon Diggs was a no-show. 3 receptions, only 3 yards. Hunter Henry played decent. It was mostly about that Seattle defense, even though obviously you need to have points on the board. And so since Ken Walker had an amazing performance, 27 possessions with 135 yards, that's why they gave him the MVP. They didn't give it to Sam Darnold. I still felt like Seattle had the better offensive defensive team. I even say Denver had it. If Bo Nix wouldn't have got injured, they would have won in inclement weather. They only lost 13-10. That should have been a Broncos win, even with Jerry Stidham. And they had a good start in the first half. It was the second half that the weather was just horrible.
All they needed to do in the
Horrible.
first
You
half
couldn't
was kick the
see.
field goal before the end of the halftime. That's all they needed
That's
to do, kick the
also
field goal, and that's why they lost.
They could have gone to overtime and probably win.
Mhm.
That's so a lot of people put that on Sean Payton. I mean, he's still the biggest. He was one of the biggest elite coaches we've seen in the game, and I know that a healthier Broncos team, they're gonna be back Super Bowl contenders. So in that division, I agree with you. You're putting the Chargers. Hey, with Patrick Mahomes being back and with the players they've signed and re-signed, I mean, you have Travis Kelce coming back. A lot of people were talking about him retiring, and then you sign a running back like Kenneth Walker. I mean, that team now has like the right pieces to be super contenders again. So I got 2 teams in that division. In the South, I just can't trust the Texans. CJ Stroud, look at that performance that he did. Jaguars, they're gonna be like in the playoff mix. The Colts, the Colts, like look at the start that they have and look how they crashed down. And then you got the Titans, which is a team that for years and years, I don't see them like developing, even though you put them as a team that with the moves that they made actually been one of like, let's just say, free agency winners. And I agree with that. You Cam Ward needs help. When you give help to like quarterbacks that are expected to have a good career like Cam Ward did in Miami, is supposed to have in the NFL career like Bryce Harper with the Panthers. Now the Panthers are doing the right moves to basically put him in a good position. And the same thing with the Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams. I know that's the NFC. I'm just trying to compare quarterbacks that you still wouldn't give up on them.
Right.
And Cam Ward is somebody that they should definitely not give up. Like the Colts gave up on Anthony Richardson that quick. Right. You know what I mean? So in the South, I don't got nobody. I'm sorry, but in the North, I know he's back with the Steelers last season, last dance. I see them as a playoff team because
wow,
at the end,
that's wild. I did not see that.
At the end of Nick, at the end of the day, both of them won a Super Bowl together. Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. They got that chemistry. They got the chemistry. The defense is gonna be better. I mean, the defense regressed last season. Like, what happened to them? It's not like they're
just older now. They have Ramsey and Cam Hayward.
I know they're older, but when you still have one of the best defensive players and also good linemen and safeties all around, no matter the age or veterans, that's still a team that shouldn't regress to be one of the top 10 worst.
Yeah, but when TJ Watt is injured and he's not playing, that's really going to have an impact.
No, that's going to have an impact. That's going to have an impact on the team.
Yeah, like you can't just rely on Cam Hayward and Jalen Ramsey because even when Jalen Ramsey was on the Dolphins, like towards his last year on the Dolphins, like you can tell he was just getting burned everywhere he would go. Like you run a go route on him, he's gonna fall behind. He's just older now. Like that team, they need a restart. I see your vision with the Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, but I also make the same argument. I make an argument in which, we saw Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett have a similar relationship, where like he was balling even with Nathaniel Hackett. I would say that he was balling on the Jets, but we never really got to see like a good portion size of what he could do on the Jets as well. And we see him with Mike Tomlin, he did all right, but I think he's done, man. He's already older. We saw it last year. The offensive play
he already said he's retired. He's retiring after the season. So
yeah, like I don't see much for the Steelers, to be honest. Like I think the Bengals can be better than them for this upcoming season. I think Baltimore can be better.
Yeah. So in the North, I got the Steelers in the playoffs. I don't see them as contenders. That's why I'm trying to minimize the teams. Like in the East, we cannot discard the Bills. The Bills are still the Bills.
Unfortunately, never.
The Bills, and so that's how stacked the AFC is, because you got two teams in the East that should make the playoffs. You got at least three teams in the North with the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Ravens. I mean, the Bengals, if in my opinion, they don't make it a playoffs for 4 straight years. I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to want to ask his way out, even though he's under a big contract with the team. Because remember, this is a team, I don't know what they do during the summer. I don't know what Zach Taylor does during the summer, but he never has his squad ready at the beginning of the season. They always start 1-3, 0-2, and then they make a comeback, but it's too late because you're in a conference that is so packed with good teams. And if he wouldn't got injured, they would have continued to have a good start. Remember, Burrow got injured the second game. They still won, but after that, they went downhill. So if they stay healthy, the defense still bad, still worries me. I mean, I don't see them basically progressing in a big way. Maybe they'll be better, decent. They're still going to have to rely on their offense, on Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and all them boys. But Bengals have those expectations to make a playoff. So I got 3 teams in the North. In the South, Jaguars, Texans. And then in the West, which is the most difficult, we got the Broncos. You have the Chargers over the Chiefs, but the Chiefs, you already know that.
They can make some noise.
So look at how many
Mahomes, man.
So look at how many teams are. Are they contenders? Yeah. Are they the favorites in the AFC? No. So when people talk about Super Bowl contenders, it's a mixture of 2 different definitions. I understand what you're saying. You pick 3. So in my opinion, I can pick 3 as them, as the Chiefs, and the Broncos.
Really? You're gonna go with Kansas City? Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
And if let's make it a little bit more easier for us, because those top 3. Your top 3, my top 3 could be actually the opposite. Maybe it could be replaced by the Ravens. Maybe it could be replaced by the Bengals, by the Bills,
It's just funny because both of our top 3s included one AFC East team and then the rest in the AFC West. We have no hope for anything outside of that.
Exactly.
It's the AFC West or the AFC East.
I agree with this. East, West, East, West. But let's just say those three picks that you made and I made, all of a sudden, it's a plot twist with the Ravens, Bengals in the North, and then let's just say in the East, Bills. I mean, you never know, man.
Yeah, you know what would be crazy if that actually happened? We wouldn't have a job right now.
Literally, literally. No, and it's gonna be more interesting when we're debating when training camp starts. Basically, giving us the list of the top five, or basically the 7 teams that we're predicting, like we did starting this show last year.
Yeah.
Who are the 7 teams that are gonna make it at the AFC? Who are the 7 teams that are making it NFC? But if we're talking about contenders in two definitions, I'll put them as a top three, like you did. Favorites, look at all the teams we just mentioned, man. And and
I
and
don't
and
know,
and, and,
man.
and an injury could be very impactful to any of those teams that I
Yeah.
just mentioned. That I'm taking them like being in the playoff mix up. And so
Sure.
if we're dividing two definitions, are they contenders like top 3 teams in the AFC? Yes, they are. Are they
Yeah.
favorites? I cannot still put them at the favorites. You even talked about that defense. It
Yeah.
still doesn't convince you.
And
So
I actually wanted to tap into that before we get into our next topic really quickly.
okay,
That defense, when you brought it up, the fact that they held Seattle to 22 points. The reason why I was very low on them, regardless of only
okay,
holding them to 22 points, the
okay.
amount of turnovers that they could have produced for that game,
No,
the
that's
amount of
true. You're
drops
right.
that they have on
You're right.
interceptions. They could have had 3 to 4 interceptions that game. I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that. If you're in the biggest moment of your life to make the big play, you need to make that play to win that game.
That's a
Because if that
fact.
first pass that Sam Darnold threw that everyone thought was going to be a pick six,
Yeah,
that changed the momentum entirely. That
I
swayed the
agree.
momentum for that defense.
I agree. Even though the outcome was still supposed to be the Seahawks winning, it could have been like a 22-20
Yeah.
if Drake May wouldn't have thrown that pick six, or the result that they had 29 points and the Patriots having 20, a pick six like the Seahawks did. So I agree, but the outcome would have been the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. Obviously, me as a fan, you give hopes to the team, even though I'm the one that predicted that the Seahawks were gonna destroy them as they did. It could have been worse. It could have been worse or a little better, even though they wouldn't have won if that defense would actually read a couple of those plays that could basically turn into turnovers or fourth downs, and then they could have been in a better position to basically score. But the reason why this offense, if Brown, Dubs, Ramondre Stevenson, Mac Hollins, Hunter Henry, and the rest of the crew are healthy, now Drake May has weapons around, and now he's got a reliable wide receiver, whether it's Romeo Dobbs or AJ Brown, because you even talked about it. Age,
Yeah.
age is a factor. Romeo Dobbs is a little bit more faster. Is, let's just say, he's younger, faster, athletic. But the only problem basically is if he can stay healthy. Apart
Yeah.
from AJ Brown, Brown has been healthy throughout his career with the Titans, mostly with the Eagles. He just had that disconnection with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, and that basically that beef confrontation with the organization, this and that. So, and he grew up being a Patriot fan. So now
Oh,
basically
yeah.
now he's gonna live the real dream that he's wanted since being a kid and being drafted to the NFL. And he,
And not only that, it's the fact that now he's reunited with his former head coach that he made an AFC championship with as well.
yeah,
So
Mike
it's not
Vrabel
only the fact that he gets to relive like gets to actually live out the dream that
live
he
the dream.
once had as a kid, but he gets to do it with the coach that built him to the player that he is today. So
Exactly.
that's gonna be exciting to see.
Yeah, basically he's the one that really developed him. When he arrived to the Eagles, he was already him, and that's why the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl twice in 3 years. They could have won the first one. That
Yeah, they could
defense
have.
was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
They How much was it? Allowed 38 points against the
Something like
Chiefs
that. Something like
when the
that.
Chiefs were like a little inconsistent. So I mean, Jalen Hurts should have won the MVP without winning the Super Bowl because he
Mm.
balled out and his wideouts as well. But then they say they reinvented themselves, beating the Chiefs 40-22. But that was exactly the same Philadelphia Eagles that should have won the first Super Bowl matchup against the Chiefs. Before we do the transition to the NFL in the last topic, before then we start talking about finals in the NBA and NHL, I gotta give a big reminder, Nick, to our audience, which we are immensely grateful. for them to be our first official sponsors. The Metropol Restaurant has finally arrived in Miami, in the Dolphin Mall located. It offers the best Puerto Rican and Cuban cuisine. Traditional dishes include stuffed chicken, mamposteao. You hear me right? Mamposteao,
Mapoteao. There you go.
mamposteao, and congri rice, mofongo fried pork,
I
much
love congri
more.
rice.
I'm
I love
gonna,
it.
I'm gonna say it again. Metropol Restaurant located at the Dolphin Mall in Miami, and also since we're during the week being tired, working 24/7, whether it's with one job that basically takes the whole energy from us, or two or three, us basically what the young adults are doing, you, me, Nick, and Anthony, which is excuse for today's show. They also have Uber Eats. And since I know you guys want to arrive home, watch the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup, MLB regular season games, don't worry, Metropol's got you. You can order it at Uber Eats and go straight to your house. All right, this is the topic that Nick wanted to start off. I'm sorry, I was just too
No,
anxious
no, no, you're
and
good. As a
to
Dolphins fan, if that happened to me, I probably would have been like, we're talking about that first. So no,
imagine,
you're good.
imagine if the Dolphins would have actually acquired him. That
Dude,
would be,
I would have been like, what are we doing?
bro. At the end of the day, Malik Willis, who's his first option? Washington. AJ,
Well,
AJ.
that's actually it's actually get that right. It's Jalen Tolbert.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jalen Tolbert. You're right, man.
Don't
That makes it
disrespect my team,
that
bro. I know we're
that
rivals here, but don't
that
disrespect my team
that
like
makes
that.
that makes it better, Nick. I'm glad that you're gonna be able to sleep at night. All right, let's go to the NFC now, which this one actually, let's just say, it was not surprising that Myles Garrett wanted out of Cleveland,
No.
but to be traded to La La Land, like Nick, you talk about Boston teams like basically either inclining or declining. Because you start off with
Mhm.
declining, then you saw a couple of Boston teams that after we had that show inclining. But now let's just say that they're declining. Look at the Red Sox. Look at the Bruins. The Patriots are inclining. The Celtics, they just had a season without Jason Tatum. They should have won that first round. That's a team that's gonna come back next season.
They've plateaued.
Let's talk about the real rivalry of Boston, La La Land. You got the Dodgers, who's supposed to three-peat in the MLB. You got the Angels, who are actually having a decent season, and Mike Trout is staying healthy, which is very important.
Shocking.
You got the NBA that the Lakers at least made it to the second round. Let's see with the LeBron situations. You got the Clippers also. They're if they're either they rebuild now because they at the end of the day they should have been a team that after having one of the worst starts to all of a sudden making that comeback. But with the trades that they made, they actually it fit better with Darius Garland and Kawhi Leonard. Harden wanted his out. We already saw the situation with Cleveland. So LA in like every single franchise in every single league, like minimum, you're gonna see them in the playoffs. Or at least fighting for the playoffs, being considered contenders, favorites, etc. Like the Dodgers are right now with the Clippers and Lakers. Those are playoff teams. In the MLB, you got the Dodgers as being the favorites to three-peat. The Angels could be in the playoff mix-up, and then you got the LA Kings, the NHL, which we already know the scenario in that.
First
But
round
now,
merchants.
exactly. But now you got the Chargers, who you put them as a top three contenders, and I feel like Jim Harbaugh in his third season is gonna make a couple of adjustments. Herbert has a little bit more help in the offense, but in the playoffs, he's choked. So this is actually more about Herbert
Yeah.
executing when playoff time comes. But the Rams, I put the Rams as the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. They lost against who? The champions, the recent champions, Seahawks. But a lot of people were talking about certain plays that the Rams, if they would have executed, they could have won and make it all the way to the Super Bowl and also be the favorites against the New England Patriots. But now, with the defense that a couple of years ago when they won the Super Bowl and then he retired like 2 years afterwards, tell me this is not like the best defensive lineman they have since Darnold.
Well,
Since
listen,
Arnold, sorry.
listen, bro. Aaron Donald. The fact
Aaron
that this
Donald, sorry,
guy,
Aaron Donald.
the fact that this guy just went to the best team in the NFL, and I don't care what anyone says, this is the best team in the NFL right now. They have the best corners, they have the best linebackers, they have their a whole team is incredible. The only thing they need to do is stay healthy. If Miles Garrett
Yeah.
can stay healthy, they are going to win the Super Bowl. It's that simple. I don't see any other way
I mean,
around it.
Miles. Okay, wait, first of all, Miles Garrett has only had 3 seasons of his career, which he's played less than 14 games.
It's a good sign.
There was a season that he played 10, which is, if I'm not mistaken, the minimum he's ever had. There's a season that he played uh 10, 11, and 14. Those are the only 3 seasons he's done below
He's a
16.
monster. He's a monster.
Throughout his whole career, I got the stats here. 9 years, he's had 6 seasons over 16 games. And he's the only player, first of all, he already broke the record for
Single
sacks,
season sacks.
23, even though it's an extra game that he'd had. TJ Watt, if I'm not mistaken, did it in 15, 16 games. When
Well,
he when he broke the record, let's
yes,
take
but
that in consideration.
Miles Garrett did it in less snaps.
Less snaps and with one of the worst teams in the league.
Yep.
Kudos. All right, kudos to that. 23 sacks. And then he's had the most consecutive seasons with over 12 sacks, 6. So he has those 2 records. In my opinion, like, yeah, Miles Garrett has to stay healthy, but I feel like his surroundings are the ones that actually cannot be prone to injuries. And also, they gave a big contract extension to Matthew Stafford and Ty Simpson to probably be his successor. And he's going to develop that quarterback, including Sean McVay. I felt like that was an amazing pick by them in this recent NFL draft. And when you got them wideouts like Devontae Adams, the Rams have the right pieces to basically, yeah, look at the Super Bowl, favorites in the NFC. Well, let's just say win it all. I understand that, but since they won the Super Bowl, whether the defense downgraded, whether Matthew Stafford cannot be healthy, like we asked so many questions about them since they won the Super Bowl the beginning of this decade. That is the reason that basically it's not that they beaten them, they beaten themselves with some of the issues that I just mentioned, like defense downgrading, especially when Aaron Donald retired. Matthew Stafford, with his age, injuries is starting to become a problem, and also saw something to worry about. But when you talking about roster wise, when you seen this team roster wise, they definitely gotta be considered as basically the favorites in the NFC. But now, since you put them as the favorites, I'm gonna try to play devil's
Not just NFC
advocate.
favorites, the overall favorites of the NFL, dare I
Overall
say it.
favorites.
I
Overall
don't care.
favorites.
This is my
Uh,
team to win the Super Bowl. How can you not put this team to win the Super Bowl? They have offensive player of the year. They have MVP. They have a depoy. They have everything that you need on a roster. And losing Jared Verse and a first round pick for next year, they basically gave up
Yeah,
nothing
they
for
gave
Miles
nothing.
Garrett.
They gave out nothing. I agree with that. No,
So I mean, I don't know how you cannot look at this team and be like, this is the championship team. Like
it's not. No, 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 no.
these
All
teams
right.
are incredible.
So yeah. So since I gotta play devil's advocate here, it's not that I don't see them as a favorite because in paper they are, and with the staff that they have, also like they got the perfect team right now. But like I said, injuries is actually the reason why they
Offensively, I agree.
offensively, now defensively they've upgraded in the last 2 seasons. Because when Aaron Donald retired, you already know the impact that had. When Jalen Ramsey walked out the
It's,
door, when they had a couple of players walking out, they were focusing more on the offense, which
and
actually,
now
in the last 2 seasons against the Eagles, they could have actually won that game and gone to the Super Bowl. Last season, they should have won against the Seahawks. So this team, even with some of the issues and questions that we have around them, mostly not being healthy, they have been this close to making it to the NFC Championship if they would have been the Eagles the year that they won, and to the Super Bowl last year, which they were the favorites against the Seahawks. And they had their
should have
battles
won.
against them during the regular season. Remember that big comeback the Seahawks did in the
Hmm.
fourth quarter against them?
Hmm.
Especially that play that all of a sudden became an extra point for the
Hmm.
Seahawks. That was one of the most controversial. Even Sean McVay was like, "I've never seen that before in NFL history." I bet the fans also like we didn't understand that type of play. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We don't make excuse from them coming back. We let our guard down, this and that. So this two teams in the same division, they're gonna be battling out. San Francisco, we cannot cast them out. But like I just said, this team in the past 2 seasons against the Eagles in the divisional round, they could have actually got to the NFC Championship against the 49ers. And then against the Seahawks in the NFC Championship, they could have gone to the Super Bowl. So it's mostly themselves the issue, whether they downgraded defensively or they've been prone to injuries. Their star players, mostly Matthew Stafford. That's the only issue and the only thing that has the fans and us analysts worry about how far they can get. But in paper, they literally look like the Super Bowl favorites. Now, is that path going to be easy for them? We're not. We even though they
Definitely
traded,
not.
yeah, I don't see a big threat in the East. We talked about the Giants. They should make the playoffs or at least be battling out. The Commanders, they're going to be also in that mix up. But then you see the Cowboys and the Eagles, and they're like, those are not the same Philadelphia Dallas teams that we mostly seen this decade. So, like in the East, I don't see a big threat to them. When you go to the South, I don't see a big threat to them. I know you talked about the Falcons. I don't. The Saints are going to be one of the worst. The Buccaneers, Mike Evans is not there anymore. He's with the 49ers. And then the
Weird.
Panther, and then the Panthers, they could be a playoff team. I get it. So the only teams that are for me they should worry about, in my opinion, are two teams, both in the division, which is the Seahawks and the 49ers. And then you got the North, the Packers and the Lions. Because the Vikings and the Bears, if it's a playoff matchup, they're definitely not beating them. But if
Well,
you
I
have,
don't know.
but if you have the Packers, that's gonna be a battlefield. If you have the Lions, also, let's just say they match up well with them, offensively and defensively. But then when you got two teams in your division, like the Seahawks, who are still the champions, they're still the recent champions, so we still gotta give them the respect. And they're the favorite, and they're the Super Bowl favorite odds at the moment by ESPN and other sports channels. And then you got the 49ers. And Brock Purdy also stays 100%. With now throwing the ball to Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey is not going anywhere. He's still there, and he's
They
been
got
actually.
George Kittle still.
They got George Kittle and that defense, which also the reason the 49ers had their ups and downs, it was mostly because all of their star players in the defensive side were injured.
Yeah, and even with their fifth and
And they
sixth
still
stringers,
were
they
in
were
the
able
playoff
to.
mixer.
Yeah, yeah. But I very quickly though, I do want to tap into the Lions because I don't know if you've seen the most recent news about this Lions team, but I have no more hope for them anymore. I have zero hope for that team. They have signed one of the worst executives I have ever seen in my life, and I've experienced him myself, and I'm off the Lions train. I'm sorry, Dan Campbell, you're great, but you're player executive guy now. I'm so sorry, Lions fans, for what you're about to experience for the next decade. I am so sorry.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And also last season, finishing 7-10, we also got to take in
Raul,
consideration.
how does Chris Greer have a job? Please tell me.
That's
Why the
right.
Lions would sign Chris Greer? Why? That is why I'm saying sorry to
You
Lions
know
fans. I
what?
don't know if you've heard the news, but that's why I'm apologizing to them.
You know
They're
the
screwed for the
real
next 10 years.
the real winner is him, because you know what I'm saying, because after being thrown out from the Dolphins, all of a sudden now being in a better situation, like
Screwed.
hopefully he's not that black cat running around the building. And basically after everything the Lions have worked in the past seasons, especially Dan Campbell and the acquisitions that they've had, how they reinforced that O line,
I
the
can't wait to see
pieces.
Penei
The,
Sewell get traded.
I mean, bro, there's right
Dude, if
now,
they trade
right
Hutchinson or Sewell, it's the
after
Lions are
they
gonna blow up.
after they gave Hutchinson that big contract,
Oh,
that's doubtful. But that's a Chris Greer type of move.
it is a Chris Greer move. Yeah.
That's a so I wouldn't be surprised by that. But they still got a dynamic dual running game with the new signing. They still got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They still
Yeah, they'll be
still
fine,
Jared
but
Goff.
it's
They're gonna.
not the Rams though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So this trade, I'm just gonna say I'm still not gonna have the Rams as the Super Bowl favorites because of the issues that I have said,
That's
bro.
bullshit, bro. And excuse my language, but that's bullshit.
All the points that I've just said in paper, I say they are. but we got to see them on the field if they can stay 100%. Nick, you know what? I'm sorry, not 100, 110%. The Seahawks
Maybe.
can still not be disrespected.
Sorry.
The 49ers are on, I'm not going to say the word that Charles Barkley usually says with the cast. Let's just say that they're basically back to being a big threat in the NFC, especially in that division. I mean, the Rams could probably not even win that division with the moves the Seahawks and the 49ers have done. Nicholas?
I'm sorry, bro. You lost Kenneth
NFC,
Walker. You lost your prime run game. You're done.
NFC used to be a flexible. It's not anymore what we saw since last season and what we're supposed to see this season. And there are a lot of teams that are going to be much, much better coming into this upcoming.
I don't know, man. Listen, bro.
And
when you create the super team on they created a super team over there.
Oh,
I don't care.
I agree with that. Let's just all right. So if the Dodgers lose Shohei Ohtani, are they favorites to three-peat?
No.
Okay. If the Rams lose Matthew Stafford and Ty Simpson takes control of the team.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
I think it's those are the contenders, though. I think they can still be playoff contenders.
No, they I agree. They could be playoff contenders. Basically, like something similar to what we saw with Nick Foles with the Eagles.
Yeah.
When he replaced Carson Wentz. I get that.
But
I'm not saying talent-wise. Talent-wise, yeah, they're the favorites.
No, you're right.
But I have my questions on them staying healthy. That's it. Apart from that, if you tell me, all right, offensively, defensively, are they better than the Seahawks? Yes. Are they better than the 49ers? Yes, but they match well. Better than the offense of the Seahawks. The 49ers are much better. But also, the same thing. Is George Kittle going to be healthy? Is McCaffrey going to be healthy? Like, bro, this game is the most violent and dangerous compared to NBA. NHL,
of course, but based off of history, I'd rather take the Rams over the Niners, especially if we're talking about injury concerns. Like the Niners have gone through, like they picked up Mike Evans, who had his first big season where he was out for almost all season, and now he's coming back from an ACL injury. So people are going to figure out what's really up with him.
That's true.
Then you got Brock Purdy coming back from playing half a season, with Mac Jones being the starter majority of the season because he's been injured. You have George Kittle going through injury still, and he's already in his 30s. You have McCaffrey entering his 30s with injury problems once again in his career that people were hoping that wouldn't happen. Ayuk, we don't even know if he's ever going to step on the field again because of the amount of problems
legal issues.
Because of everything. Front office issues, legal issues, everything. They've been having problems with him since the beginning of the season. He almost screwed me in fantasy. Screw you, Brandon. But for the most, and then we already talked about the defense. The defense was on their 5th and 6th string linebackers at one point.
That's true.
Like, if you want to talk about a team, like yes, they match up well on paper,
and they still were in the playoff mixture.
That's coaching, though, at the end of the day. That's different. I would say that's better coaching on him than what Sean McVay has provided. Because Sean McVay now, he has no more excuses.
If they would have won that game against the Seahawks, it was between them or the Rams to win the division over Seattle.
I agree. Here, very quickly, though, we should move on because we've taken all the show.
Yeah, we got definitely. We're going to wrap up with the NHL Stanley Cup. Basically, outcome of what we saw in the first game and then quick predictions of the NBA Finals. But, Nick, do you have something to say to the public before we do those two quick transitions?
I do, Raul. And I'm not gonna lie. Since being back home in Miami, I've been craving this. And I've been craving this since I've been away.
Welcome back to 305.
The first thing I did when I got home, I called one of my boys and I was like, "Yo, man, let's go grab some food. I'm hungry." And you know where we stopped at? Metropol Restaurant, Dolphin.
Hey,
we were
man.
Hungry, we had a little taste of that Cuban life, that Caribbean life, that island life, with some congri rice, fall off the bone ribs, mamposteao. It was delicious.
Mamposteao.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Mamposteao.
Sorry, Metropol.
I'm sorry, Metropol.
Metropol. My mama said he's still trying to get it.
He's still trying to get it. Reading that, I'm sorry. It's going to be hard for me. It's been a while, but I'm sorry.
The important is that you're trying instead of skipping it.
Exactly.
Because the fan needs to know. The fans need to know.
I love Metropol, bro. I got to show my support. But anyways, we had Metropol. We had a great time. And then he asked me, "Nick, do they deliver?" And I said, "Oh, do they deliver? You can go on Uber Eats right now."
In both senses. In both senses. They deliver in both senses. They execute.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, they execute, and they also delivered physically straight to your house. And what better way to watch the remaining of the Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA Finals, who begins this week? first half of the MLB regular season and the upcoming UFC and boxing matchups that we're going to be seeing during the summer. But, Nick, also, I need to remember the audience. Since it's a Puerto Rican and Cuban cuisine,
Oh,
is the beginning of the Dolphin Mall. Is below Dave and Buster's. Before opening the doors at the Dolphin Mall, it gets packed with Latinos and Latinas
it's
because
exciting,
the
man.
FIFA is right around the corner. You're gonna see Brazilian fans, Argentinians, Colombians, Venezuelans, and then you're gonna have Puerto Ricans and Cubans basically supporting all the Latino American teams. So it's gonna be amazing. Also, Latino fans that actually their countries are not in the FIFA, they support Spain, they support France because of them being fans of the players who are superstars, Portugal, etc. So that place is gonna be packed throughout the whole FIFA events. And what better way to spend with your family and friends watching it? This summer is going to be a blast, especially when the FIFA is here in the United States. Now, the ticket prices for the Hard Rock Stadium are stupidly
But it's okay because that's why
ridiculous.
you go to
There you
Metropol for the
go. There
games.
you go. That's the best option. All right, Nick. So I went 1 for 2 with my predictions. I got the Hurricanes, which you said that was basically, how do you say, not a ridiculous take, but
I just didn't like it because I
you
think they're
didn't like it.
chokers.
You didn't like it exactly. Now the Avalanche, bro, they disappointed completely.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I'm not casting out that the Golden Knights are a bad team. They just had 16 less wins than them. Let's start up with that.
Yeah.
They have much less points collectively, like offensively and defensively, than that team. Let me give you a quick stat before we go to this game. So the Avalanche had 16 more wins. They had 10 less losses, 6 less ties, and 26 more points than the Golden Knight.
It's
So,
ridiculous.
so statistically, when you see that, who are the favorites? Now, could this be at least a 6 game series that Golden Knights should have surprised Avalanche? Yeah, sure, I'll give it that. I'll give it that. Or Colorado winning it. But 4-0, a sweep for them in 9 years to have the third appearance in the Stanley Cup. That's actually one of like the most surprising outcome we're seeing right now, at least in this playoffs, 2026. What do you think about that one?
Well, I listen, man. For me, I show respect where respect is deserved, and Vegas
Yeah,
deserves all my respect in the world. 3 title appearances in 9 years. Everyone in the NHL right now is yakking by this. They hate it that this brand new team out of nowhere is coming
yeah,
in and
I agree.
dominating everyone. They hate it, bro. But personally, me, as someone who had their team lose to this team in the final, pretty
No,
happy for them,
that
man.
I mean that's why I'm rooting for a team that beat us a couple of years ago. Even though after that we revenge ourselves winning back to back against the Edmonton Oilers, and talk about the Canadians losing that
Wild.
the streak continues
Good.
since 1993. If I'm not mistaken, no Canadian
Yep.
team has won
Yep. We're
a
gonna keep it
Stanley
that way.
Cup, and whether it's us or other teams, we're gonna be supporting them
Oh yeah.
no matter what. And since I know we got 7 minutes to go in this show, I gotta give love to Carter Hart. Game
Yeah,
one,
man.
game one against the Avalanche. He went 36 for 38, 2 saves, 30 for 31 in game two, 32 for 35 in game three, 20 for 21 in game four. For me, he was the big factor in that series for them to sweep them. I give love to Mitch. I give love to the rest of the cast because I didn't say after what we saw from from Frederick Anderson during the playoffs. This guy has been balling. This guy has been out of his mind, and he yesterday, even though it was mostly the defense, which actually wasn't helping him out at all. I mean, 5 goals in the first
It's
game, and,
ridiculous. It's
and you know what?
ridiculous.
And you know why it's a historic night? Because teams were 0-55 in game one of the Stanley Cup when they're down 0-2,
Yep.
and the Golden Knights broke that record. That's why in the production put us as a title. But Frederick Anderson, 12-2 in the playoffs. That's number two in winning percentage, below Carter Hart. Number two in goals attempt, which the defense actually has been doing a outstanding job during the playoffs. and then he's been 287 out of 312, and then with a .920 save percentage, which is number 4 compared to the all every goalie. And for me, that was like the biggest take for them to allow 5 goals, but mostly let's just say 2 or 3 of them I gotta how do you say, I gotta cast the defense for not showing up. Like I basically gotta criticize them for
Yeah.
basically leaving him on a lonely island. So the real question: do the Golden Knights have the edge in this series since they took the first one on the road?
I mean, I think so. I think it's easy to say yes because normally with these teams that you see with that aren't really exactly the highest seeds, the one thing that every hockey fan and just every hockey player knows is that you need a hot goalie throughout these playoffs.
Yeah,
And it's not even like Vegas has had a hot goalie throughout the entire playoffs. Carter Hart is just coming
no,
alive right now to
yeah,
the show.
yeah.
And
Mostly in the last series against the Avalanche.
yeah,
Like
and even then,
he was decent in the first 2 series. It was mostly this Western Conference Finals, and now in this one, he allowed 4 goals. So like
I mean,
he
but it
goes,
doesn't matter because you have the team working so well, and they're moving so
yeah,
well together on the ice, and everyone's playing their roles, and the team itself is hot. So it's hard to stop that. It's hard to stop that, and especially now after beating the President Trophy winners. And mind you, this is I think 7 years in a row now, or 8 years in a row, where the team that has won the President's Trophy and has had the best record in the NHL has not made the final. So I'm
mm,
a man of superstition. I believe in the President's Trophy
yeah,
curse. The Panthers won that President's Trophy, and you know what happened
yeah,
in that season they won? They got eliminated in the first round. So
yeah,
I do believe in that curse personally. But Vegas,
yeah.
they
Avalanche had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 different awards won this season.
yeah, but mind you, the main reasons why they lost though, because Cale Makar got injured and Nathan McKinnon. So
Yeah,
losing those 2 guys, your 2 best players,
the
automatically
best scorer.
yeah,
Yeah,
automatically you're gonna lose everything there. But you have guys like on Vegas though, like Mitch Marner, Jack Eichel, Barbashev. I think it's Ilya Barbashev. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, sir. I don't be a dick
that's
about
why.
it,
That's
but
why. That's why sometimes I mention their first name only to those hockey fans that know, because I don't want to be disrespectful
oh, come
or
on, bro.
screw their
Everyone knows
names
about
out.
Barbashev right now. Well, Barbashev is hot right now in Vegas. If you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to go to
yeah.
Vegas, you're gonna see Barbashev jerseys there.
No, bro, and Mitch Marner right now 22 points throughout the playoffs, 7 goals, 15 assists. Jack Eichel 19 points, 2 goals. He's been distributing more on the ice with 17 assists. And what about Pavel? Pavel in the season.
Oh man, how can
Pavel,
I forget Pavel?
Pavel in the season. Look at this stat: 64 points, 37 goals, 27 assists
Incredible.
throughout the whole season. In the playoffs, 14 points, 10 goals, and 4 assists. The dude all of a sudden became like playoff Jimmy with
Yeah.
the Golden Knights. Because when you see his numbers during the whole regular season with what he's producing in the playoffs, and Brett Howden also, he's being balling
It's
right
very
now, 12
similar to
goals.
Sam Bennett last season. I feel like because
Yeah,
Sam Bennett had a very similar season in which he had like 60 something points, but the team was so good and they were playing so well around him that he was just able to take those shots and have
I
opportunities to
agree.
even score goals. So that's why I love Jack Eichel and Marner for this because I don't want to compare them to Barkov and Kachuk, but because they don't play a very similar style of
Yeah, I
hockey at
get
all.
it.
But the way that they're playing and allowing their teammates to get open and have opportunities to score, it's
Mhm.
incredible. Like
I
on the
agree.
ice to watch, and they shouldn't even be in the playoffs, which is the craziest part about it.
Exactly, exactly. No, they literally slide in
Yep,
by a close by a close edge, because that was a team that literally during the regular season they had their ups and downs, and for them basically to turn a switch in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen it with so many hockey teams that either finish last in their conference or are like in the top 4, top 5. All of a sudden they prevail and make it just only make it to the Stanley Cup. That's a
Florida
big
Panthers.
accomplishment. And exactly. And now to be up 1-0, I think they have the edge. I have them winning in 6 games in Carolina, like they stole it. So
I like that.
I
I
want to
like
be
that.
like I've done with both headlines today. I want to be in the other side against you. But offensively, Hurricanes don't match up with them. Even though it was a close game, 5-4, and they were up 2-0. At the end of the day, they collapsed. Even though like it was only 2-0, first team to be up and then lose a game like that. 0-55 was game
In
one of the Stanley
classic
Cups.
Carolina fashion, Jokers.
All right, let's go to our last topic. Quick predictions: the NBA Finals. Nick, I already know who you going
Yeah. Do
for.
I even need to say? I've been high on this team since before the playoffs.
This dude
Give
picked
me
him as a
Wemby.
sleeper. He
Give
picked
me
him as a
Wemby.
sleeper, and they are in the finals. You got to be.
Give me Wemby, bro. Give me Wemby. That man is going to take charge on the court. For game one, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. He's dropping 30 and 15.
Oh man, Wemby right now. Remember, he is still thinking about that Olympic gold game against USA.
He's mad.
He was sentimental compared to the rest of the. It was like the whole France team knew they were gonna lose, but he had hopes that they could have won it, especially in their territory, in front of their fans. So he's still sentimental. And remember, San Antonio lost against the Knicks in the NBA Cup championship game, and now first time they're seeing each other in like a real NBA Finals since 1999.
And what happened in 1999?
David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Avery Johnson, and them boys, they were just dominant. And they faced tough teams like the Blazers, the Wolves, the Lakers, similar to what the Spurs did.
Very similar, actually.
The only difference was OKC in the Western Conference Finals. But at that time, it was the Lakers when they beat them in Western Conference Finals. And then they won NBA Finals 4-1 against Latrell Sprewell, Patrick Ewing, and them guys. I want to go for all right.
Don't you dare! I know you like the Yankees, Raul, but don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to yourself.
As a analyst, San Antonio is winning the series in 6 games, and as a hard fan of Miami, San Antonio is winning the series in 6 games. I don't care if I gotta agree with you. I don't care if we're right now like 2 for 2 in the last topics, but it is what it is. San Antonio, I feel Victor is more hungrier than all of them that have actually had a better percentage and path for them to make it the finals, and they choked, either losing in the first round, losing in the semifinals, losing in the Eastern Conference Finals. They finally made it all the way. I had them make it to the finals since the beginning of the season in my playoff prediction. Now, obviously, I had OKC. We got to take into consideration Jalen Williams didn't play, but Thunder still should have pulled through. You know what I'm saying? Like, SGA did everything that was in his hands. Alex Caruso was horrible. Horrible. The guy that was so consistent with them offensively throughout the season, he was horrible.
It's freaking Alex Caruso, bro.
The only guy that helped SGA was Cason Wallace. And then Chet Holmgren. 2 attempts, 4 points. A guy that's making over $270 million in 5 years extension. That was horrible.
He'll be playing in Guangzhou next year for the Shanghai Sharks. He'll be playing there.
Oh my God! Like he deserves to be 1 year punished and be playing overseas for that bad performance that he did. Especially when
put him on Sacramento. Send him to Sacramento.
Or I can send him to the 3rd best league in the world, BCN, Puerto Rican League. That's where all the NBA players are going. Ex-NBA players or players are trying to go back to the league. That's where they're. Oh man, come on!
I mean, look at Whiteside, bro.
I mean, he was dominated. DeMarcus Cousins.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm going to give Whiteside. Chet's a little skinny.
I mean, Knicks are going to give them a battle. I cannot disrespect the team that historically has had same numbers as the Golden State Warriors 2017, as the Lakers 2001, and as the Spurs 1999. Those 3 teams won the NBA championship. And for the first time in franchise history, 2 series sweeps. Never has happened. But then you look at San Antonio, who they face. Portland, they're going to be a better team next season. Then
with Dame and Drew together, that's going to be fun.
They had to go through a more difficult path. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, you had OKC, the favorites in the Western Conference, and remind you, when OKC took game 2, all right, a lot of people were already basically casting San Antonio to lose like in 5 or 6 games. This team has beaten the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have gone to 2 Western Conference Finals prior to this season in the second round. Then they beat the champs, who has the Knicks beaten. 30 seconds remaining of our... Exactly. They beat who in the first round? Atlanta. Come on. Who they beat the second round? Philadelphia. Come on. Cleveland. I felt like they should have at least gone to 6 games, but Cleveland was a team that a lot of people didn't see winning that series against them. And especially that momentum felt in game 1. So when you see the comparison with a team that has had a little shorter rest than the Knicks, most teams that have shorter rest coming to the finals still have like that adrenaline, hype, motivation. And when you beat the best of the best and then face the best in the East, but not better than a OKC team, you can even say that if you put Denver and New York, I put Denver to win a series. If they would have matched up in the finals, the West basically is your championship alley. And that's why I got San Antonio winning in 6 games. I cannot watch a Knick fan celebrate. They even fight each other when they win.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? Like they are equally or worse than Cowboy fans. I gotta speak the truth. So I got San Antonio in 6 games. I wanted to go against you. I was thinking about it because I want to say, since they're the same city as my Yankees, but hell to the no. Spurs in 6, Spurs in 7. All right, so the only thing that we're disagreeing. That's how we wrap up today's episode of Section 305. Hopefully, we have Anthony Aguirre back with us next week. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleague Nick Dupont. See you guys next week.
Let's go Spurs.